Thanks for joining me on this gut talk to talk about the major achievement you did a few months ago with regards to the global hack. Now, you're based in Estonia, which is, you wouldn't put it in the same bucket as other nations because everything's digital, it's super innovative, but it also allowed you to create this global hack in a record time with 12,000 participants from around the world. Can you expand on this?
Yeah, that's right. And all the more because it hadn't been done before. So there wasn't really a playbook that we could pick up and run with at the time. But to be honest, the way that it worked was just a massive amount of volunteers, mostly people who knew one another, working 18 hours a day for 3+ weeks, just fully volunteering, and in Estonia and outside Estonia as well. So a real massive online collaboration. And I guess everybody was pretty much locked up at home anyway during that time. So there was some sort of special energy just to do something, to do something that actually hopefully made a difference for people out there who are being hit by the crises. And of course, it was, so I just think there was a couple of crises, wasn't it? Not just the health crises, there was the economic side as well, and loads of other challenges. So yeah, lots of people just wanted to do something, and this was a start.
Yeah, there were different tracks, like mental health was one of them, and some others as well. So there were groups from, different.
Yeah, that's right. We had, I think, 12 tracks in the end. We had 11 tracks that we had initially. Which ranged from immediate crisis response through to everything else was sort of the future of, okay, well, what's the opportunity to build back better when we come out of this? Because it's not that the environmental crisis has disappeared, mental health crisis or anything like this. And then we also added a further track with the support of the UN SDG Action Campaign, who were, their main theme was solidarity. So there was a special track for that one as well.
Okay. I always say, like, this pandemic was an opportunity for us to get creative in a certain way and get things done.
Totally right.
But how did you get the idea, and how did you also manage to get the government interested in a few hours?
Well, actually, to be clear there, so we had an initial hackathon, which was the Hack the Crisis hackathon here in Estonia. And that was the one that only took a few hours to put together. And literally, it went from idea in a group called Accelerate Estonia, which is I guess it's the Estonian government's unit for innovating with startups on big society issues. So things like digitalizing logistics, digitalizing things that haven't actually been connected up yet, but actually creating those as platforms that then other startups and other programs can build on top of. So we were within this unit with Mick Weinig, who runs it, Kayesand, who is the main, the program manager for it. And there was a call from the ministry to say, well, the Ministry for IT, to ask how we can respond to the state of emergency that had been announced in Estonia the night before. So this is the middle of March. So on March the 12th, the state of emergency, was announced. That information came through Accelerate Estonia the following morning, that the minister was looking for a way to respond, not just to the crisis, but so Estonia would be stronger coming out of it. And it seemed to us the obvious way was to do a hackathon. And that's how we crowdsource ideas here in Estonia, right?
Yeah.
And literally within 45 minutes, the government was fully signed up to it.
45 minutes?
45 minutes, they were fully signed up to it. And I think that was for a couple of reasons. One, the timing was just perfect for it. Obviously, they were looking for something to do and they wanted to respond. Secondly, because of the startup community here in Estonia and how close we are to the government, but also because Accelerate Estonia already bridges that divide between the startup community and the government, they knew that we could respond really, really quickly. And so, yeah, that's why the government was able to already had that trust with us, and we were able to switch it on straight away. And then within 6 hours, we actually launched. So the government turned around very quickly. Within 48 hours, we had these 30 working prototypes that were so good that actually the 10 of them were implemented live within the following week.
All right.
And most of those were actually implemented by the government, because the government had been so deeply engaged during the hackathon. that they knew the projects, they knew the people, and they'd actually been involved in developing the solutions, so they're able to roll them out straight away. And that literally not only saved jobs but saved lives, because you had to be able to roll these solutions out so quickly. But what was amazing about this was, firstly, in Estonia, normally when we do a hackathon, we'll be doing hackathons for ages, with Garage 48 for 10 years now. And normally 100, 120 people is a good size turnout for a physical hackathon.
Yeah.
But as I say, this one launched in just 6 hours. We had 1,200 people join this hackathon online. And they joined from 20 countries, mostly Estonians, but not just. A lot of Latvians joined in and actually joined us in actually helping deliver that. From Poland, from Sweden, from the US, from absolutely everywhere.
India, I can remember.
Not in that one, but
not in
close.
That one. Okay.
No, because what happened here is somehow this triggered a series, an actual sort of movement of Hack the Crisis hackathons around the world. So Latvia, as I said, were very involved in the Estonian one, then ran theirs 2 days later.
Okay.
And because Estonia had already sort of set this gold standard for what these could look like, because by the end of the hackathon, not only was the full government involved, but the president actually launched the finals, the award giving out there. And so that meant that everybody else around here also, when they did it, they had to do the same. Their president also had to be rolled out. So that's what happened in Latvia. And so you could actually say, if anything, maybe Latvia started the movement because they were the first ones to actually pick it up and run with it. But Poland also launched 2 days later. Germany, I think it was 3 days later. Ukraine was there. Belarus was there. One weekend that you're talking about, we had, I think, Australia, India, Morocco, Sweden, and the Netherlands all went at the same time with their Hack the Crisis hackathons. So starting from nothing, within 4 weeks, we'd hit over 200,000 people with these hackathons across 60 odd countries. Phenomenal. So then that's what actually led into the Global Hack, which was then, I guess it was about a week after, or the first week after the Estonian Hack the Crisis hackathon, when we saw how much this had been taking off across the world, that we thought, you know what, there's a very special moment right now, a very special moment where people all around the world are actually faced with the same problem from different angles, for sure. But they're all seeing the same problem. And what's special about it is they were aware they were seeing the same problem. And I don't think this has happened before. I'm sure there have been pandemics in the world before, but the communications haven't been there before like they are now. So people weren't aware that the rest of the world was facing the same challenge. And so it seemed to make sense to bring everybody together in one massive event that would show not only that we can respond, but actually really created a feeling of hope around it. So then that took, again, I think it was 30 seconds to get the core team committed to doing that. And then, and there was a core team of 4 people, but then we delivered it after 3 weeks. And by then that core team had become about 40 people who, as they were just volunteering 18/7, 24/7 to make this happen. And then not just within Estonia, it was Norway, Sweden, Latvia. The actual hackathon itself, we had, as you said, there were 12,000 participants from over 100 countries. And we had organizers, local organizers in 6 different countries around the world who are actually coming into it. So it genuinely was global.
Oh, all right. And it was global. It was massive. It was going mad on Slack, I think, because you used Slack for that. But my other question is, besides, getting Estonia so exposed globally, you said that some projects were implemented thanks after the Hack the Crisis hackathon in Estonia. 10 projects were implemented because the government was really involved. What are some of the takeaways? I'm not going to say successes. I'm going to say takeaways, good, bad, or ugly, from the global hack.
For sure. Really good question. So for me, the biggest takeaway was if you provide people the platform, the opportunity, then people around the world will come together and collaborate with absolute strangers to come up with solutions for these immediate problems. Again, we had teams spontaneously forming from 4 or 5 different countries around the world who would get together to try to solve a particular problem. Secondly, though, that and this is a good and a challenging one, getting the local government, the national government, deeply engaged is a major bonus if you can make that happen. So what we saw when we did the National Hack the Crisis hackathons, those countries where the government was more engaged, the projects got more traction immediately afterwards. So in Estonia, in Latvia, in Poland, this was very clear. Also in Norway and Sweden, we've seen this as well, and in India. During the global hack, though, whilst we got this massive global participation and collaboration, obviously governments are responsible for their national issues and citizens. So they respond to their voters, their electorate. And so they weren't so interested in doing something that was global. So this is the challenge we need to resolve for next time, is how we engage national governments in the process so that the projects do get immediate traction after the hackathon.
Okay. And are there any other plans you have for another global hack, or is sort of follow up?
Do you know what? You have no idea how many plans we've got out there, just making them happen.
So you have a list like this one?
Pretty much, actually, yeah. Every time we get together, there's sort of more and more ideas of amazing things that we can do. Because again, I guess we're feeling the same inspiration that we see in the participants. When a participant who has an idea, but has no idea how to implement it or how it can be done, or somebody who has skills, but has no particular idea or problem they want to solve, when they get together spontaneously, they inspire one another to actually create some amazing value. And I think we feed off that and we're getting the same response. So we've been doing a series of matchathons where we actually connect up participants from the hackathon, teams from the hackathon, and other hackathons who've taken the same model that we used, and connecting them with potential partners, governments and so forth out there, and webinars to help them. But more excitingly, we're actually talking with one of our significant partners from the first global hack to see if we can do another one that's more closely aligned with the UN SDGs, and again leverage their network to get more deeply into local communities that aren't within the tech bubble that we're trapped inside. Because as you said, here in Estonia, everything is digital, and we forget that the rest of the world isn't like that.
Yeah.